Hello and welcome to the second section of the reported speech. As you may remember, the other day we were studying reported speech sentences with affirmative and negative sentences. Today we have something different, okay? Something new, which is reported speech in the case of questions, alright? So, remember last examples we saw from the affirmative and negative, we always used the word that to introduce the sentence, okay? So if you have Susan saying, I love the beach, and then you say, Susan said that she loved the beach, okay? So we always used that to introduce the reported speech. Now, in the questions, this is going to be different. We are not going to use that anymore, okay? What we are going to have instead are two different things. We are going to have actually two different ways of saying questions in reported speech. It depends on the nature of the question. If the question starts with a WH, for example, what, where, when, who, etc. If you have something like this, what, where, when, who, then it's going to be different than if the question is something that can be answered with a yes or with a no. Let me give you some examples. Let's start with the WH. If you have something saying, for example, the teacher asked me. Well, the teacher asked. Okay, I spoiled the fun. The teacher asked, what is your favorite work of art? Okay, this is an art teacher asking, what is your favorite work of art? And now we want to put this not from a dialogue, not from an utterance, we want to say this in reported speech. So in this case, it's going to be super easy because we copy the first part, we say the teacher asked, okay? And then we are going to use exactly the same WH word that we have above. The WH word in this case is what. So we again repeat what. Asked, what. Okay? But now, the difficult thing here is that when you have a question, if you see here in this example, in the first example, you have, first you have the verb to be, right? And then you have your favorite work of art, that is the subject, okay? It's like, how are you, right? How are you? Instead of saying you are, we make an inversion, we say are you. So here you don't have a question anymore, so here you cannot make the inversion. So the difficult thing here is that you have to look for the subject of the sentence. The subject of the sentence is your favorite work of art, but as the teacher was asking me, we do not longer say your, but my. What my favorite work of art, and now the verb in the past. We always change the verbs to the past in the reported speech, as you may remember. So the teacher asked what my favorite work of art was. Okay, we do not need an inversion of the subject and the verb. Let me give you another example. Let's have something more like typical. Let's have something, for example, let's say, my friend asked, where is the train station? Okay, so as you can see here, this is a question because you have the question mark. Okay, so as this is a question, you need to say where is the train station. All right, you make the inversion. You don't say the train station is, but is the train station. Now here, when you want to say this in reported speech, you say my friend asked, we copy the WH, where, and now we identify the subject. The subject of the sentence is the train station. So we say where the train station before the verb, okay, because this is an affirmative sentence, and then we look for the verb. The verb is. So now we write is in the past. The train station was. Okay, this is how we are going to proceed with WH cases. Okay, WH is going to be always like this. Alright, we copy the WH to introduce the sentence, and then we make the inversion of the subject and the verb, not to make them inverted. Okay, now it can also happen that you may find a question that can be answered with a yes or a no. For example, do you like living here? He asked me. Okay, and now when you want to say this in the reported speech, you say he asked me. But now we want to introduce the sentence. Okay, we are not going to use that because that is only for affirmative, and we are not going to use a WH word because in this sentence here you don't have a WH word, right? So in these cases we are going to use if or whether, written like this, okay? If or whether. Then again we look for the subject of the sentence, which is you. As he was asking me, I say I. He asked me if I in the past, liked living here. Here is probably there now. Okay, and we don't write a question mark because this is no longer a question. Okay, he asked me if I liked living there. He asked me whether I liked living there. Let me give you another example. Let's have would you like some tea? Well, some tea, this is like very, very British, right? Would you like some coffee? Okay, I'm not saying that British people do not like coffee, but you know, normally when you use tea in a sentence, it sounds like very British. So, would you like some coffee? My grandma asked me. Okay, so now we write this in the reported speech and we start. My grandma asked me. My grandma asked me. Again, we do not have a WH word here, so we are going to use if or whether. My grandma asked me if I would like some coffee, okay? Or if I wanted some coffee, okay? Alright, so with these instructions, you already know how to transform affirmative sentences and negative sentences and interrogative sentences. Just bear in mind two things, two very, very important things. When you have WH, we are going to use the same WH word, okay? So if you find the word what or where or when or who, we are just going to copy the word, okay? And if you find a question that can be answered with a yes or no answer, then you are going to use if or whether. Now you may be wondering, are they different? Yes, they are different. Normally we are going to use if, okay? If is more common, if is everywhere. When you speak, you use if. Whether is reserved to more formal occasions or when you want to make emphasis on something, or maybe because it just comes out, okay? But normally we tend to use if because it's shorter, because it's more comfortable to use. All right, so these are the things that you need to know, and above all, remember that you need to change the subject and the verb in a different order. First the subject, then the verb. Okay, as always guys, if you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to contact me. Contact me anytime on WhatsApp. I'm available. Okay, you can text me and we can chat and I can solve some of the questions you may have. All right, have a nice weekend and enjoy yourselves as much as you can. Goodbye. Thank you for watching.